Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mamluks. My name is Sim. Along with me are my co-hosts, Sheikh Amir and
Assalamu alaikum.
Mahin. Folks, thank you for joining us this evening. Before we get started, help us out on patreon.com/the Mamluks. Alternatively, you can go to PayPal and help us through the Mamluks at gmail.com. How you guys doing?
Good.
Solid.
Good old Wednesday.
We have a guest
90
here.
degrees. Sorry.
Ahmad Sarhan, please, Sheikh.
Hold on.
We have a guest. We have to have some
Sorry.
etiquette.
Sorry, guest.
The guest before us. You know this. You're a veteran.
Yes.
We have the man who we should credit for Mahin's transformative gains.
Transition.
Not
You had it on his podcast, but anyways. Go. Sorry, intro to you. Bro, you signed up for this, bro.
As an aside, my son, we were going through some translations of the Quran and stuff. We were reading about transgressors. Because we were going through Surah Lut and understanding, so they were certainly one of the transgressors is what the ayah was talking about. So he thought transgressors means trannies, So he thought, oh, Papa, that's the T in LGBT. It's like, yeah, technically.
Kid, dude, he's got to think about that. He's 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
How did he get exposed to that?
Well, we were
The world
watching
that we live
Matt
in.
Walsh videos. Do you know who Matt Walsh
Too
is?
scared to make kids.
Yeah, Matt Walsh is this. He's a conservative educator who is kind of pointing out the flaws in the education of LGBT related texts to children. So me and him were just watching some Matt Walsh videos because that's what an adult dad does with his 10-year-old to spend some time with. So we were watching. You heard about the what is the woman thing, and
It's hilarious.
I love Matt Walsh. I think he's great. I know some people online are like, no, Matt Walsh has some other agenda, but I think he's a fantastic person to at least learn or have to educate our families with. There's just so many different perspectives he brings that helps everyone understand things. But
and his video is free, right? His documentary?
Well, no, you have to be a subscriber on the Daily Beast.
Oh.
So that's why we were just watching the previews. But
Okay.
the preview itself is just 2.5 minutes long, but you feel like you've seen the whole movie by watching that preview.
I gotcha. Okay.
There's enough there that will make you laugh and chuckle.
I thought he made it free or something, but
I hope he does because it's just too important.
yeah.
Because
So
nobody
now-
knows about the Daily Beast.
Yeah, so I mean, you were out of high school. Okay, not the.
Yeah.
You were out of the four of us, but I think you may have been in high school most recently. Do you remember?
Yeah.
What did y'all get for like sex ed and all that stuff back then? Was it? Could you opt out
That
of it?
ended in like 8th grade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. That ended in like 8th grade.
And you didn't go to university. You went to a public school, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No. They would teach you the basics like anatomy and male anatomy, female anatomy, puberty, everything that goes down.
Right.
And then I think they started talking about safe sex when you get to like high school.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Ninth
Okay.
grade
yeah,
health class.
I mean, whatever happened to the classic health classes where they put the condom over the banana?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what you would touch, and then
that-
everyone would be like, "Okay, we understand. This is
Yeah.
health class." And
The good old days.
no one complained, but nowadays you have like comic books and all kinds of other literature.
Yeah.
that-
It's something else.
yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Why don't you do that, please?
Yes. Okay. So obviously, you guys know my name, but for the viewers and everybody else watching, my name is Ahmad Sarhan, and I am a online fitness coach and
a assassin.
assassin. Damn.
Sirhan, the assassin.
The legendary
We're not
assassin.
related to that, man.
Anyways, go ahead. Yeah.
But yes. I've been in the fitness industry for a little while now. I started off as an in-person personal trainer, and I kind of started I did that for years, and I started as an MMA kickboxing instructor. Essentially, that was my origins because I did MMA and kickboxing for years before I got certified in it, and then one of my friends. He saw me working as a barista because that was my first job ever. And he's like, yo, you should you've been training for a long time. You should just come get certified and become a boxing trainer. You know what I'm saying? Just come work with me. And I'm like, okay, for sure. I came, I did a few seminars, a few trainings. I got certified. Granted, I already had a lot of information and experience because I've been doing it for years. And then from there, I just became a boxing instructor, kickboxing, boxing, and MMA overall. And I kind of just did a lot of in-person training. And then from there, I did that for like about 4 years. And then I moved into commercial gyms. I went to export, became a trainer there for like a little over a year. And then COVID happened. And then I was like down. I lost my job, like everybody else, and then I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Was broke for a little while, and then my fight or flight kicked in. I'm like, I got to do something, or else I'm not gonna, my credit score is gonna tank. My bills are gonna add up, school, tuition, all that jazz. So I ended up, starting this business that's been floating around in my head for like years, and I never started it, but COVID was like the push. And basically, that was when I started online coaching, when COVID happened. And at first, like any business, it's slow. And then you learn the ins and outs, you learn the systems, then you make the systems. And then, you just continue to rinse and repeat. And slowly but surely, I grew to like a large clientele of in-person and online coaching now. And obviously, you guys all know Mahin was, what's it called? One of my first clients, actually.
And he is a walking testimonial for you. Mashallah. How much weight did you lose in the past year?
Yeah.
Or was it a 6-month period?
No, so it was basically we started on a cut, right?
Yes, we started you on a cut. You were how much?
I was 193 on day one, and I was 172,
193?
and then 172 on day 90.
And then
Mashallah.
172 on day 90,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then
We started a bulk.
Yeah, and then after you cut, we started a bulk.
Yeah.
Built a little, maintained.
Yeah.
Kind of just focused more so on like gaining strength rather than cutting. And so far, like I don't know.
It's been about So
been-
I think part of the idea of a coach is that like I'm not supposed to have you forever.
Exactly.
Right.
That was a big point that I tried pointing out to you in the beginning.
Yeah.
The idea of the 90-day program is obviously to educate you. A lot of my clients, they stick with me for years just because to have that accountability. But a lot of other clients, the whole point is like, I'm going to have you for 90 days, possibly 2 rounds of 90 days. So maybe like instead of like just 3 months, maybe I'll have you like for 6 months. Right. But after that, like essentially, you don't really need me anymore. You know everything you need to know because my program is an educated-based program. So the idea is that I'm teaching you the whole time. And the point is the point of that all that teaching is to make sure that when we finish, you can move on your own and you'll be okay without me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the whole point of the educated-based programs, just to make sure that you are okay to go on your own.
So awesome. I mean, there's a lot of instructors who just they want to make sure they can rope you in so that you're kind of a perpetual leech. You just need to keep paying instructors for years or whatever, because they're not educating you to do it on your own. You know what I'm saying? But some people, they need that partner with them too, because some guy pushing them all the time.
I was going to say that.
So I'm not gonna completely dismiss the idea of an instructor who's helping people all the time. Because some people need that. I need someone who's just kicking my butt.
I need someone knocking my window, like, get up, we're working out. That's what I need.
That's the thing. That's why some people will they'll stick with me, and I'll be like, all right, you're all done, and they'll be like, no, we're not done. And I'm just like, oh, we're not done. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not gonna say no. You look great. You made tons of progress, but there are a specific set of people that just they prefer like for example, the people that prefer to stick with me are typically there are a lot of corporate guys or a lot of females that are in like high level businesses, and they have so much on their plate that they don't feel like dealing or programming or creating any sort of like system for themselves. They need me to do it for them, and they just need me to just literally keep them accountable and keep them on their toes, because they're not going to do it themselves. And that's the whole point. Like if they wanted to, they could, but they're not, because they want that accountability.
So do you have like a base where someone can come and train with you, like a small gym or a gym or something? Or
No. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a majority of it's online. So your in-person training, how does that work?
Good question. So my in-person training is highly exclusive for the simple reason that I don't have a gym, nor do I want one, just because it's a lot of work. It can be a little bit of a headache. It's something that I look to do in the future, but when I have an in-person client, typically what the process is, we'll either meet at a gym that I know, like I'll typically know managers at a lot of gyms. I know the managers, I know the board execs, and basically they'll be cool with me training my clients there, right? And they won't like ask me any questions or charge me or bother me or anything. They'll just be like, yeah, we like you, you're cool, go do your thing. You know what I'm saying?
If you want to film something, they're fine with that. 'Cause I heard that's a problem with some gyms.
Yeah.
They don't like people filming.
They don't. There's a lot of gyms that they don't like people filming, but like the thing is, the key is not to film anyone else. Yeah. And then there is a select few of in-person clients that this doesn't happen often, but the ones that do happen, they kind of just stick with me for years. It'll be like those guys in Villa Park or Lombard that own like 10 businesses and have like, you know, an indoor gym. And they'll invite me over to their home and be like, yo, you're coming to me and I'm going to pay you for the gas and everything. And you're just going to train me in my house. I'm not leaving. You're coming here.
That's probably a premium pay. You could probably charge for that as well.
Oh, I do.
Oh, of course.
I do.
Yeah.
You have to.
I'm not going to drive all the way out. Like, you want me to come to your house? That's fine. I'm totally cool with it. But this is the price.
No.
You know what I'm saying? There's a price for that.
And if you got the money, bro, I think that if you have a hard time working out, you really got to get in shape, and you're having some health issues, you need someone to help you get whipped up into shape.
Yeah.
If you got the money, dude, you should do it, bro.
Yeah, but that's why I keep the in-person clientele very exclusive, just because I'm driving around to multiple different gyms or potentially someone's house. That's A. And then reason B why I keep it very exclusive is just because if I don't know you and you ask me to come to your house, I maybe at first I tell you come to a gym, and then after that maybe once I get comfortable with you, I know who you are.
You're not a creep, basically.
Yeah, I'm not. At first,
You don't shut down the walls. Don't get sealed in, and it's like, where are you gonna go?
Walk in the house,
We have this genetic specimen. Now we can start our experiment.
No, well, first off, yes. I don't want it. First off, number one is professionalism. Number two, after the professionalism, you want to, you never want to like impose on a person and be like, yeah, sure, you want in-person training? I'll be at your house like tomorrow. And they'll be like, oh, my house, what? Time out. Oh. You know, like, don't come to my house. But like, you know, yeah, there's like a few things, like very specific, like prerequisites for me to actually, I need to like really know you. Like for me to come to your house, you know, otherwise it's in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Cool. And I have friends at gyms all over, so finding a gym is never a problem.
Okay, so how many different types of programs do you have? Like, we can talk about Mahin's thing because he's mashallah, he's always talking great about you. This is the first time we're meeting you. But somebody says, for instance, you know, I want to maintain whatever muscle I have. I want to lose, let's just say 30 pounds off the scale, 20 pounds of fat, whatever the case is. So since you do have boxing training, do you incorporate all that? Or if they just want to be trained in boxing, you'll do that for them?
There are some clients that like, they'll be like, okay, I want to do boxing training to lose weight. And then there are some clients that just like I said, I have for years. And this is why I'll have a client for years, is because you can hit a bag, but no one's going to hold mitts for you and tell you like jab, cross jab, jab, slip, hook. No one's going to teach you the advanced combos. No one like you need the person there with you all the time. And even after you learn everything, you still need the person there with you to hold mitts for you. Yeah. Right. So like when it comes, like, I mean, he never did any in-person boxing or anything. Mahin did a separate program that was purely online.
By the way, would you say that had you look at your, maybe piggyback on his question, would you say that you have a general high percentage of clients that fit maybe my demographic, or
yes,
you say most of them I would fit in your okay.
Most of them are like either working dads or just men between the ages of 25 and 50, and typically they'll be looking to mainly lose weight, and that's what I specialize in, weight loss. I'm a weight loss coach.
And that's what we're kind of here to talk about.
Yeah.
Seems like Mahin has some tension in the air about intermittent fasting.
I heard. He let me know. He was like, yeah, we want to talk about IF and this and that, and I'm like,
these guys, Sheikh Amr does like these 72-hour water fasts, is it?
Once in a while, yeah.
You kind of ease up
I'm
a little
on 24 hours right now. I'm
You're
going another 2 days, inshallah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Wait, Tamar, are you drinking that Canada Dry?
Yeah, but it's 0 calorie, that's why.
Oh, but like no water?
No, water,
Yeah.
only water and sugar-free stuff, but no food.
Okay, water, sugar-free stuff, no food. So a 24-hour fast.
Yeah.
Okay, you're fasting from food, not water.
No. Water I have to have, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
That's what we refer to
I was
as
about to say,
dry
if you're fasting from water but drinking a Canada shot,
No, as long as 0 calories, like technically you're not supposed to, but it's like, you know,
Does that
I
give
need some
him
flavor?
Would that cause some kind of other reaction that could screw up his fast?
and no, I'm not saying. I mean, you make the rules, So, if you can't eat, you can't eat. Like that's a drinking. That's a drink right there. But I would say it doesn't help you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because there's obviously other stuff inside of there too, you know.
Of course. The thing about zero sugar and the diet sodas, there's a lot of sweeteners in there.
Yeah, sucralose, aspartame, all that junk. Yeah.
The sucralose and the aspartame are actually sweeter than the regular sugar that they would put in a non-diet like soda.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that can cause other issues like high blood pressure, diabetes over time, of course.
Yeah, this is not a regular thing for me though. It's just when I'm in the studio.
Of course.
Yeah. But ideally, how it started off is that I would just basically, so everyone heard about, it was called lean gains originally, right? I think it was called lean gains, where it was like a 16-hour fast, 8-hour eating window type thing. I kind of started off with that. I thought that was kind of cool, but then I just started skipping breakfast because I never, even in high school, when I used to eat breakfast, I used to feel sluggish, stomach would feel all weird and like all is, it would I just feel like almost nauseated. So then I just would just eat breakfast because everyone else would. But then I started realizing when I wasn't eating breakfast and just had like coffee or like black coffee, I'd be good, especially when I started working.
You'd be good, like how you feel?
I'd be good, like energetic. And as soon as I ate, I'd just be like...
I mean, were you having a fat breakfast?
No, sometimes it'd just be like eggs, like 3 eggs, and sometimes vegetables, sometimes a piece of fruit. It's just something for me personally. That's why I think, obviously, this better than we all do. Everybody's very different. And anytime I eat in the morning before 12 and I have to work that day, I'm not getting too much work done. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if I don't eat anything, have like a black coffee, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And some type of caffeine, I'm good. Like I can work super focused. I'm getting things done.
Yeah.
And I don't want it any other way. I work out fasted too, even in Ramadan, believe it or not, all my PRs when I was lifting like heavier, like all my PRs were right before I broke my fast. Like right before Maghrib.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Deadlifts, everything. Right before Maghrib. So I'm a big believer in that. The thing with me is one thing I find, not only do I feel a little stronger, but you have to get used to it.
You do.
You have to get used to it. And one thing I realize is that I burn fat and I sweat a lot easier when in that situation.
Yeah.
So what he was talking about is like the 72 hours. There's something that's called like rolling 48s and rolling 72s, where there's this initiative, which is that the thing that once made you fat, which was food for the most part, is you eliminate those and you have just water and electrolytes. You make your own electrolytes, salt, potassium, magnesium sulfate, baking soda, and anytime you get thirsty, you would have that inside of the water, right? Mm-hmm. Basically your electrolyte drink. Yeah. And you break your fast 72 hours with something light, and then something preferably majority of protein and fat, not too many carbs. And then you restart again. So you have like a 2-hour eating window, maybe a 4-hour eating window.
Yeah.
And then you continue. So I did that for a while. I did that for like a month, and I was like, all right, that's, obviously the first few intervals are really hard. And then after that, you start seeing results really fast. And then if you do not want to fast, then you try to eat like, mainly keto-esque 1 meal a day type thing. Mm-hmm. And then Ramadan helped. Ramadan came in between. So for me, like, so the protocol is basically after you get to your desired weight, then you're going to have like a 5-hour eating window. Okay. Where you try to eat, just mainly like low carb, but you can, have cheat meals once in a while. So that's an extreme version of intermittent fasting, what he was referring to, what I was doing. That's not like everyone can't do that. So when I refer to intermittent fasting, for me, it's kind of like a 1 meal a day type thing, and preferably some type of physical activity before you break your fast, just in case you want to indulge. Okay. So for me, that's what keeps me like really sharp, especially when I work. When I used to teach, I used to hate eating actually, because as soon as when I had a class, I couldn't teach. I'd be like 50% productivity. I just want to sit down and teach instead of always walking around teaching, right? So for me, food, I don't want to say it's a poison, because it's a blessing from Allah, but one thing I realize is that if you want to be productive for myself, food really bogs me down. It doesn't allow me to be all there, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what my take on, you know, and why I started intermittent fasting, and obviously with the benefit of losing weight too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let me, before you comment on his,
Yeah.
I took a more balanced approach.
Let me hear this one.
So for anyone who's overweight, I consider myself with you just because I'm a little bit, you know.
You still have more to shed.
Yeah, there's a little bit more shed. So include, when I make fun of fatness, I include myself, you know.
Yeah,
So
as motivation.
don't take it personally.
As
I know
motivation.
some people are on the sensitive side these days.
Yeah,
They're
no
not,
fat shaming.
They're not like when we were young. We could just say, "Hey, fatty,
Yeah.
get over here." You dribble the ball too much or something. We always joke
Yeah,
around
this
the
is
court.
before your time, because now I think I know how old you are. But anyways,
But so anyway, basically, him and I kind of started around the same time. His thing was my mindset was that I'm going to follow his course, and I had to tap out. It was just too much. I couldn't do it. So what I did was, well, I'm not going to do that, but I'm not going to quit altogether. The wheels aren't going to fall off. I just did the water fast. Up until I couldn't. So some days it would be 7 p.m. Some days it would be 5 p.m. If there was something happening at work and I needed that energy and needed that those calories, it could be 2 p.m., you know?
so what would your last meal be the night before, though?
What would be my last meal?
Yeah, what time?
So generally like 5 to 7 p.m.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So there was no set date. I just couldn't put that on myself. So what I did was I would end up breaking my fast with a smoothie that had like banana, a little bit of milk, and protein powder, and some peanut butter or almonds in there, and a date.
Got it.
So blend that all up, drink that, and then in a couple hours I would have just one regular meal, not crazy.
Yeah.
By the way, there's no cheat meals in this week. So I decided not to do any cheat meals. It's just going to be this one thing, slow and steady, just going to limit my intake in general and continue the fasting. So over the course of, I would say, 3 months, I lost about 20 pounds, 20 to 25 pounds, I would say.
It's not bad. That's really good.
And it wasn't very difficult for you, was it? It was kind of just became natural?
No, it wasn't. It just became natural. And I found myself actually, when I did consume calories, that it gave me the energy to do stuff, not put me to sleep.
Now, how long ago was this?
I would say we started in February.
Is this when you said...
When did you end the program?
I'm not. It's
still
still
in
going. Yeah, I'm still going on.
It's been 2 months.
No, it's February.
February.
February. Yeah, no. Okay.
Yeah, for me,
So
just
the first 2 months you lost 20 pounds.
I don't know. I wouldn't say 2 months. I would say about 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
3 months. Okay.
And this includes the dry fasting of Ramadan too. So keep that into mind too.
Yeah,
so
keep in mind for me, after Ramadan, I just been eating whatever I wanted. I only gained 6 pounds back, so I kind of restarted.
Okay.
From Ramadan up until now, like there was like these things, but then after a while, it's like, bro, the food around me all the time.
So you're up 6 since Ramadan.
Okay, so let me ask you guys a question now. You lost pounds. You saw the scale go down.
I lost about 30-something pounds, in about 2
Mashallah,
months.
that's really great. Now, what were the physical changes that you guys saw with your body?
Go ahead. You can go first if you want. I can go first. I don't mind. Yeah, I actually, because I was still hitting the gym a little bit. Like instead of going like 4 times a week, I was going once a week or twice a week. And one thing I realized that was good for me because I felt stronger because I had more time recuperating.
Okay.
Right. So I already hit my 40s, so it's not like I'm like 20 something around your age, anymore. So I was able to recuperate and I felt strong in the gym.
Yeah.
There was one time I worked out on a 72-hour fast before I broke my fast.
Okay.
And it took me like 15 minutes to kind of get warmed up. And then after that, I was just fine. I kind of like blacked it out, had a nice adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
So what was the question? Sorry.
Did you see physical change?
Physical, yeah. No, I
Not
did.
strength, physical. Like
Physical.
aesthetic.
Yeah, oh yes, I did. I thought my shoulders got more, they were more, if you want to say ripped, they were much more defined.
Yes.
My love handles were like 50% gone. I felt like the outside and inside of my chest, I was actually able to see the muscle fibers, which I wasn't able to see for a long time because of the nice layers that were over it. Yeah. My legs got like totally defined. Like it's really weird. So I have like skinny-ish legs that have love handles, and then I have a decent amount of fat on my body, but my arms and my legs are actually not that fat.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that it just increased the definition more. So my shoulders, my arms, my triceps were a lot more visible now.
Yes.
And I was able to do a lot more push-ups. And because one of the gauges I want to use for strength, like push-ups, how many I was able to do without stopping. And because I had some shoulder injuries, so I would do like 10 push-ups. I'd feel like this nerve nagging pain, but I was able to do like 35, 40 without stopping, no problem.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
We'll get back to that nerve, by the way.
Yeah.
Now, Sims, what did you see?
Yeah. So I have a wardrobe that ranges from fat to skinny.
That's true. Me too.
I do as well. Yeah.
So most of my
the bulking wardrobe and then the
yeah.
cutting
Well,
wardrobe.
for us, it's not bulking; it's just fatness. But so I would be telling my wife, I'm like, hey, look, I got all these other clothes that are, can you pack them away? They're like my skinny clothes. So somewhere down, I think towards month 3, I think I decided to start pulling some of those out. And I started wearing them. Now, the thing is, I didn't work out. The reason why I didn't work out was not because I'm anti-working out. It's because I had a really bad back problem. It's a sacrum, it's all SI joint is what they call it or something.
Yes.
But it's all out of alignment or something. And I've been doing some physical therapy with that. But I'm on my feet all the time. Like I'm cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids. As soon as my work ends, it's like another workout, almost just being on my feet and for the rest of the evening,
Okay.
And
Plus,
then
he doesn't like lifting weights because he gets really hungry when he lifts weights.
yeah, when I do lift, I go crazy. I want to eat everything. I could down anything,
that's a
man.
good thing.
You've seen me.
Yeah.
It's insane.
That's a good thing.
But maybe we need to go in the back behind this curtain, and I want you to kind of feel me up and see if I should continue losing fat.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, whatever has happened to me in my workout experience in the past is that whenever I go lifting, I end up becoming just like you. Now, you look at him, but fatter. But, like, meaning, like, I have a gut.
No.
But, like, I have big chest and everything as well along with it. So,
Okay.
what I've been told by other quote unquote fitness experts is that just do cardio and lose all the fat and go into super shrimpy mode or very close to it, and then go into bulking
Oh
mode.
no, who said that?
This is
Do you want to throw him under the bus?
I don't know. These are just people on the internet, to be honest.
Reddit.
Yeah, that is not the move. That is definitely not how you do it. Okay, so you guys saw those physical changes. Now, as you watched Mahin go through the program, because you guys did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So as you guys watched Mahin, what physical changes did you see with Mahin, and do you feel like there's a difference between your physical changes and Mahin's physical changes?
Well, he's very lean, I would say. I don't see a whole lot of muscle definition just because he wears loose clothes. I'm not going to ask him to take off his shirt. Maybe you can go in the back with him and he can feel you up.
I mean, I'm not going to feel anything, but yes.
Bro,
So,
you're supposed to be a
that's
personal trainer. I was joking.
that's a good question. Yeah, no, I am a personal trainer, but we don't do that.
I'm joking. That was a joke.
I'm dead. No, there's a stereotype about that, actually. It's pretty funny. But no, I seen Mahin's photos just because I am his trainer. I seen his photos without the shirt. And I obviously noticed a crazy definition, of course. I'm not going to speak so much on that, but I'll keep it like pretty vague. But yes, I mean, there's like definitely great definition, and I feel like Mahin in the gym physically got stronger.
Awesome.
I would say. But Mahin, why don't you go ahead and speak on like the differences in physical aesthetic that you noticed in yourself as you went through the programs?
Yeah, I think that so just full transparency, 193 to 172 is my drop, and I think I got low as 165, but then I couldn't go anymore, right?
Yeah.
And I think we had a conversation about like, hey man, I gotta eat.
Yeah,
That's a good
we,
weight.
we needed to increase your...
We gotta eat because I'm like I feel like I just plateaus, right? And like, the engine's got to get built up, right?
Yeah.
So right now, I had to buy a lot of new clothes, like this entire getup, other than the sneakers. This entire getup is all stuff I've been purchased recently, right? So
that.
you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, it's just so that we're talking about book, because you told me my ideal weight. I wanna be it when it's all said and done. That this ain't gonna be in 1 year, 2 years even.
Exactly.
Finished product probably 185 ish.
185 lean.
Lean, right?
Lean.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Right.
That's a great
So that
way
would
to
be,
lean.
imagine Mahin walking around 185 muscle.
Right. So right now I am, because when you, so right now I hover between 179 and 181 on any given day, right?
Okay.
On any given day, right? So, but when I look at the body comp, the main thing is you taught me was the measurements.
That's a big deal.
Taking the tape measure and all that, but also they have the clothes fit. So even though like the 181 is more than 173, it's just like, okay, how does it look though compared to like 193?
That's the thing, yeah. So I will have clients that
Yeah.
will literally like end up like telling me like, Ahmed, I dropped like half a pound on the scale only, right? It's not a lot this week. So I'm kind of disappointed. I'm like, okay, well, stop, time out. Don't be disappointed. What was your measurements? Look at your waist, right? Because I measure more than just the waist, but specifically the waist, I measure the waist purposely and emphasize on the waist because the waist is where that visceral adipose tissue exists, right? That's where that dangerous adipose tissue that can be threatening to your life and your health. That's the thing that we want to drop and decrease over time, right? So I always tell them like, yo, measure your waist. You dropped half a pound, but how much did you drop off your waist? And they go like, oh my God, I dropped 2 inches. I'm like, wow, 2 inches in 1 week. Huh. I'm not surprised, right? Because you've been working, you've been on your cardio grind, you've been on your in your calorie deficit. Your protein intake we've been cognizant of your protein intake, your recovery. You've been finally sleeping 6 to 7 hours every night. Okay, well, you're shedding fat, my guy, or girl, all right, whatever the case may be. You're shedding fat. The scale isn't the only metric unit to success. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people mix it up. They see the scale not move, and then they go like, oh, damn. But that's like not the only metric unit to actually losing fat, because the idea is if we backtrack to what we stated in the beginning, when you first came to me as a prospect, you told me that you want to shed fat, right? And I go like, okay, we could do that. You're going to shed weight too, but fat and weight are two different things. Yeah. And a lot of people realize that when they start seeing the waist go down, but the scale move less. But really the scale is moving. It's just gradual. Yeah. So when Mahin noticed his waistline going down, next to the scale going down, it's like, wow, we're really burning fat and building muscle because his strength in the gym went up.
Right.
All green flags.
Because the thing of it is, it's just basically like the other big indicator is people see you because the beautiful thing is that when we started working together, the pandemic was still kind of going on. Right?
It was.
So so one of the biggest sabotages to weight loss is your friends and then want to invite you out to go eat, right? Mm-hmm. So I remember the first 90 days,
God,
I don't think I had one cheat meal.
It was so annoying inviting him anywhere. Like,
I was bringing my
check my macros.
no, it's one time we had a Mad Mamluks get together. I brought my food skill to Bawadi.
Rewind.
You bring your skill to Bawadi?
Yeah.
I know you brought your skill here
First,
once.
we weren't even going to Bawadi's. Remember? He had picked.
No, we were going to IDOF.
Yeah.
Because like IDOF, I know exactly what their things is because it's already in my fitness pal.
Yeah.
I was like, hell no, we're not going there.
Awesome. That's dedicated.
You know what I'm saying? But
That's dedicated.
So, but then when
that's why it was so easy coaching him, because he listened to every single thing I said. Like every single thing I said to do, he did it, and his results were.
Although some things were harder for me, it took me almost a full 90 days to get 10,000 steps.
It did until I started harping on you about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were like,
I was like, Mahin, we need to get 10,000 steps this week.
Yeah,
Like every day.
That one, and then the water was always. I think the water was hard. The workouts were easy. As far as like consistency on the workout.
Yes.
Because I think you learn what you enjoy.
You do.
Right? So I actually like going to the gym. Like that's still, it gives you pleasure.
Exactly. Yeah, you enjoy the process.
And plus you feel the testosterone right after, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to go home and...
and after.
Right.
And one thing that I realized is you probably noticed this too, because I know that how fast he shrunk. Because look, we all have our own dad bod. This guy had a mashallah mega dad bod, and then I see him following this thing that he's going. I would just think in my mind, bro, this dude is carrying around this thing and the scales and his MyFitnessPal thing. I was like, bro, this better be worth it. This is what I'm thinking in my mind. Right. I was like, I hope it's worth it for this dude, bro.
Yeah, it's the same thing when he started.
No, but then I started seeing him. I was like, dude, this guy looks like he shrunk. Like. Well, you asked me like a difference I saw in him. He just looked like he completely shrunk human being. His face got smaller, his head got smaller, his body, like everything just got everything.
That's exactly I saw some guys like Hafiz Mooch in Ramadan. he ain't seen me in like 2 years. He's like, what happened to you?
Yeah.
He's like half of you's gone, kind of thing, right?
That's what happened.
And so I think this, even though in Ramadan I was still like it's not my lightest, like it was 177 or something, right? But I think that's what it goes back to. The scale doesn't really indicate everything, because I got all my pants retailed, like the pants that I like, my suits that I got tailored, I got them all retailored. And so I just recently still wore them. Weddings are coming up, so it still fit. The thing is, it still fits just like it did when I got them tailored. So that tells you, like, but I don't follow the kind of program you gave, because I started training jiu-jitsu last June, right? So then I incorporated strength training for grappling in my routine versus I tried some of this stuff. I tried to like go to town with some hack squats on Saturday, and I couldn't walk for like 2 days.
It's a different goal.
Just because I felt like, and sometimes you feel like you're in the gym and you don't want to do that strength, because the strength training for jiu-jitsu workout, it's actually less fun than the stuff you prescribed me.
Yeah, I would assume so.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I've done strength training for jiu-jitsu, considering like my MMA background. Like I know all the training that they do, and I would 100% prefer, and even the people who do jiu-jitsu, that aren't bodybuilders or lifters like me, they tell me the same thing. Like they would prefer to be in the gym pumping iron and like boosting testosterone, and not like, you know, boosting testosterone, like I mean like literally boosting your natural testosterone in your body, you know, for the viewers, of course, because I don't want to take this the wrong way, but I mean, like that's the thing. The workouts are totally different, but at the end of the day, it comes down to just me specializing in the weight loss. The idea about it is just making sure that people understand that, like I said before, like the metric unit of success isn't just measured by the scale. Like you want to look at everything, right? And even further past the measurements of the waistline, I always would say, like, look at your food. Like, is your food, like, is it getting harder or is it getting easier to resist temptations, right? And like over time, Mahin would talk to me like, I'm not really like craving anything that I used to crave anymore. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Until it got to like his cheat meals, and I'm like, yo, hey, listen, check it out. You're doing great. Go have a cheat meal. You know?
The first was that cheat day.
First one was a cheat day. It was after the first 90 days. He gained, I don't know, how many pounds did he gain?
In water weight in 1 day? 7?
7.
Wow, that's impressive.
And then how fast did it take you to drop it off?
I think
again?
2 or 3 days.
It comes off pretty fast.
It comes off fast because
I couldn't even hit my calorie goal for that day. I was aiming for 6,000 calories.
Wow.
I only hit 4,200.
And then his weight, like as soon as he gained all that water weight and all the weight from like the food that he cheated on that day, just like the very next day, it just
but also some of it was like, at the end of the day, was it really worth it? You know what I'm saying? Because you know, I told you I enjoy the food I make too,
of course,
right?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. This man started learning how to make ground turkey in like 5 different ways. Like he became like a master chef.
Wow.
He started making
like YouTube,
tacos, and like it all fit in his meal prep. It all fit in his calories, his macros. I'm like, this is perfect.
And you know, one thing you said it wasn't worth it. I think a lot of it has with mental. Like one thing that I realized is, man, like eating like delicious food or cheat meal, everything for me. I think just eating itself is very mental. That's one thing. Like the longest I did was 5 days of a water fast.
Yeah.
I did that twice. I did it once last year. I did it once this year. One thing I realized, it's all mental.
Yeah.
Everything is mental about flavor, because a lot of times when you start craving like bagels and pizza and stuff, a lot of that, like your body really doesn't need it. It gives you a certain feeling when you have it.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe that certain types of food for some people are like drugs. So when I have a cheat meal and I'm having like cake, like I get a drug feeling. It's like, this is drugs.
Yeah.
No, but you brought up a great point about it being mental, but if you take it a step back, the entire process or partaking in this weight loss effort requires a lot of mindset changes, a lot of discipline, a lot of obsession, a healthy obsession in wanting to look good, in being driven, reminded daily, and it's maybe on an hourly basis that this is where you're trying to get to, and you have to do everything possible not to derail yourself. And I think people forget about that mindset part, where you have to kind of establish that groundwork where, are you serious enough? How badly do you really want this?
Yeah.
You know, and people, if they're being honest with themselves, they want to look like that, but they don't want to put in the hard work to look
it's not
like
easy,
that,
bro.
you know?
Especially a whole.
Or they think it's unreasonable for them. It sounds nice.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be Hafiz al-Quran, and you know, I barely know anything.
But yeah,
Because you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. We'd like
how
to be
bad. Yeah, obviously, I didn't want it bad enough, right?
Right.
So I
But,
think.
I mean, when you bring it back though, like when you really step back and you ask yourself why.
Yeah.
Why? Like you want to achieve that, but why do you think you can't? Because you can. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying why do you think you can? That's something I ask.
The real question is, it really isn't a strong desire.
Or it requires a lot more work than you thought it was going to require.
Or is it like,
or maybe you just have like it's difficult for you to memorize.
There's
something.
other things that I have to.
The underlying question that I'm trying to get to
Yeah.
is why do you think that? Why are you so afraid of having that? Right? Because it's not that what you like really want yet. Like it's like, okay, did you really want it? Right? But keep digging. There's another question under there where you ask yourself, okay. And it pertains to weight loss as well. Like, why do you think that you can't have the body that you want, right? Why do you think you can't be a Hafid when you can, right?
Right.
It's not why. It's why don't you allow yourself to actually achieve that, right? Because when you really break down the mental, there is more to it, and you end up realizing, oh, there's some limiting beliefs that are layered in my subconscious that I didn't realize they were hardwired from like the jump when I was young. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy how that works because it sticks with you even like from a kid to adulthood, right? Most of your limiting beliefs started when you were young. They started when you were a kid. So it's not like, oh, I didn't want it bad enough. No, you wanted it bad enough. There's something else to it though. There's a reason why you're afraid of success. Are you afraid of the sacrifice? Are you afraid of putting in the work? Are you
failure?
Are you afraid of failure? That's a big
yeah.
one, right? Are you afraid that you're not good enough? Are you afraid of how people are going to react when you actually don't get it done, even though you just might? Like, what is the external noises and maybe even internal noises going on in your head that makes you think truly you really believe the limiting belief in your head that you can't achieve it? What is it? What is, like, go back in time when you were a kid. You know what I'm saying? Were you... Like, did your dad try to become a Hafid and like he didn't become a Hafid, or like were your parents like?
Did he say you could never do it? You're not smart enough.
I like like what your parents did. Yeah, like what your parents like.
I mean, my dad still asked me.
Really?
He's like, "Hey, have you thought about like when are you gonna memorize the Quran?"
SubhanAllah. That's a great reminder.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
a reminder, brother.
Like my dad, because my dad is like really, because he's retired.
Yeah.
He'll be like, "When are you gonna start praying tahajjud? Why aren't you? You're 40 years old. Why aren't you praying tahajjud every day?"
Yeah.
And like, why ain't, I don't like doing Arabic, but it's like digestible too, right? Arabic is digestible versus Quran. I think Quran is basically like the whole. I think part of it's right because they'll say this: the person who attempts to become a Hafiz and doesn't and drops out is like stigmatized. You know what I'm saying?
It is. You're right. It is.
You know what I'm saying?
They announce it.
Yeah.
We make a mistake of announcing
that
a lot
kind of thing,
things.
right?
Yeah.
So I think, no, at my age, I wouldn't put it on blast or something.
Yeah.
I've got a friend.
And I mean, you don't need to put it on.
Yeah,
blast.
you don't.
Sometimes like even Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, like I'm a personal trainer, but I can get into the deen a little, right? But no, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to always say like when you're doing something, like be low key about it, be quiet about it, don't spread it out, don't tell the world,
Especially with your sadaqah, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That is like a whole other conversation, but specifically like let's say like I'm about to bust a big real estate move, right? I don't, like basically the idea that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is trying to tell you is that like if you're about to do something crazy big, keep it on the hush hush until you actually get it done, and then get it done. And then you can tell whoever the heck you want because it doesn't matter. It's done, right? But from the beginning, people have their energies. People have their energies everywhere.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times it's not positive energy. And the whole point of keeping everything so low key is to make sure that no one imposes negative energy on your ambitions, your dreams. You know what I'm saying? That's just one thing I take to heart even to today. My mom always tells me that like, whatever you want to do, you just do it like low key. Do it low key. Your action will speak.
We actually got people in the comments who are actually bringing negative energy.
Oh, really?
they're always like
One of the brothers wrote, I seek refuge from what dad bought and low T.
And low T. No, they were like, oh, don't want to get fat. Don't eat like the Mad Mamluks. But real quick,
they're right.
What is your Sim got some other topics to cover, but like, what is the
My take on IF?
No, well, not necessarily that, but like,
Wait, we didn't talk about that? Can we talk about that? Because I think that's one of the main reasons why what he was going to talk about.
yeah, okay, go ahead. You want to
IF?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, IF is, here's the thing, everyone is different, okay? But to keep it short and sweet, or maybe even long and sweet, the thing about the thing about IF is everyone is different. Okay, so sometimes it works for you, right? That's great. And some people will do like a 6 to 6 gig, or some people will do like 12, eat at 12, and then like eat another meal later on, and then eat a last meal at night. And whatever works for you works for you. But most of the time, intermittent fasting is nothing short of just another calorie deficit in a shortened window of time. Okay, so basically, I can literally eat the same calories and while I'm intermittent fasting, the same calories as I would as if I wasn't intermittent fasting, right? Let's say I'm designated, like I have to eat 2,500 calories a day, right? If I'm intermittent fasting, it just means I'm going to eat bigger meals in that shortened window of time, right? Which can be a really good thing when I'm cutting, right? For the reason being that when I have less calories, while I'm intermittent fasting, it's great because my meals can actually be big and I can be really, really satiated versus like spreading my meals thin throughout the day.
Like being hungry all the time.
Exactly,
Yeah.
like being hungry all the time. Now you're only hungry for, from the time you wake up to 12 p.m. Versus being hungry throughout the day. You know what I'm saying? Because, your meals are really spread thin because you're cutting and you're dropping weight and you're trying to like adapt and it's hard to adapt because you're hungry.
Yeah.
And you typically don't do this, right? But when you get intermittent fast, your body adapts by itself. Yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick, one of the advantages, I know there's studies that go back and forth between calorie restriction and intermittent fasting, but one of the things that intermittent fasting allows you to do is be more focused on when you're counting calories or doing something that if you're at work or wherever, it's more difficult to track the calories, and you could end up eating too much in the breakfast part and then too little. You're always trying to manage stuff, and intermittent fasting just makes everything more simplified, where you can eat whatever you want. I don't like being told I can eat pizza or whatever, not that you should even eat pizza every day, but I just don't like any kind of diet restriction on that,
Yes.
So what I did, at least from my own perspective, was that a lot of time I have is what I want to eat, and this is just one plate of food I have. That's what I'm going to eat, and I think that's what at least from the comparison to calorie restriction, that's a huge advantage that it has over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like when you're intermittent fasting, eating one meal a day.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter what you eat because your calories.
But then you're probably at a protein deficit too.
You're in a massive protein.
Most
deficit.
likely.
But does that
you're
depend on what your goal is? If
That's
your
the one
goal
downside.
is to try to
But even if you're trying to cut
your
fat,
goal- if
you
your
still
goal-
want protein, right?
If your goal, yes, that's very true. Good point, Mahin.
Wait, can you repeat that?
If you're trying to cut fat, you should increase protein. Now, if you're trying to cut weight, if your goal is to cut weight, intermittent fast. If your goal is to build muscle, it's not really the move. And this is where I get into the downside.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody intermittent fasts to build mass, right? I think it's all
Never.
for cutting.
It's not even for cutting fat. It's just for cutting weight. So that's the thing, and that's why I asked you guys physically, like, what physical changes do you feel like you've seen? Because you can see physical changes, and you can see yourself get smaller, right? Just off the edges. But at the end of the day, if your goal is weight loss, intermittent fasting, solid.
But what is that when your
If it's
clothes
fat
get
loss.
smaller, when you start wearing smaller and smaller clothes, but you're still maintaining strength? Is that fat? I mean, because like weight loss would mean that you're losing muscle mass and water, right?
It would mean that you're losing all of the above, right? Muscle, fat, water weight, right? But that's why I don't like necessarily lean towards intermittent fasting, because your protein intake is not there. It's really, really not there. And the thing for me is, I don't. My goal isn't to make you lose as much weight as possible. My goal is to make you gain as much muscle and shred as much fat
I
as
see what you're saying.
possible. The scale goes down. Scale doesn't go down as much as you thought it would go down. It doesn't matter. The idea is that you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to look like a whole heck of a lot different than you did before the 90 days started. You know what I'm saying? But granted, the scale will still go down. I promise you, it will always go down. Simply because there is a lot of excess fat on our body, like the average person in today's society, carries a lot of fat. Like the average man walks around with probably anywhere between 21 to 24% body fat. And when you shed that, you're shedding a lot of weight. So weight and fat loss, yes, granted, they're two different things, but once you shed that fat, there's going to be a lot of weight that comes off. But that's why I always tell people that you got to keep your protein intake high. Whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter. Even if you're having one meal a day, let it be one meal a day. That's fine. But if you're assigned 100 grams of protein a day, you better stuff 100 grams of protein in that one meal. You know what I'm saying? And that's just, that was one of the big things that I harped on with Mahin. I always made sure that he understood the importance of your protein intake, the benefits of protein intake, and like all the effects that it comes with and the muscle growth. That's why I am a hypertrophy weight loss coach, right? I specialize in muscle building, fat loss, right? Hypertrophy is the muscle building part, and then there's the weight loss, which comes in the form of fat, right? Which we want to shed. So you gain muscle, you optimize your muscle hypertrophy, right? And then we shed fat. But the thing is, and the reason why I said IF isn't for everybody, is because it's different if your goal is different. Your goal was weight loss, right? So IF works, right? But if your goal isn't weight loss, if your goal is like fat loss and muscle gain, then IF probably isn't the smoothest route. And in fact, sometimes even weight loss, IF isn't the smoothest route, but it works for you guys because you guys are.
But we didn't gain muscle though. That's the thing. At least I didn't. Maybe Sheikh did, but I wanted to stress
But
that
part of it is like you also mentioned that muscle. I don't think we covered this. When you increase muscle, it takes a certain amount. It takes more calories to maintain that muscle for your body, right?
It does.
So therefore, the engine, what we talked about, alluded to, when you build muscle,
fat.
Yeah, you begin to burn fat.
Attacking your body
In order for muscle to
fat.
Correct.
You have to
So
maintain
Sal
that.
DiStefano I listened to an interview he did with Nick Bear. I don't know if you're familiar with Nick Bear.
Yes, Nick Bear PPN.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
PPN Fitness.
Yeah. So he did, and he was talking about how a lot of times it's like, because you can only cut so much. Like that's what I
can,
experienced, right?
until
And I was like, I had a
you're
wall,
building.
and it's like, all right, it's time to Mahin, you hit the, because I was like trying to get the 158 my wedding weight, and I was like, at that in one swing, it wasn't going to be probably realistic. We
I
realized.
mean, even 158 though, like we could have got you down to 158, but it wouldn't be ideal. Number one, and number two, we wouldn't want to get you down to 158 because you don't need to be down there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's just a number thing in your head because, like, when you're a milestone in your life and you're thinking that.
Well, especially like BMI, and when you do get into BMI, like my BMI says should be like 165 or something like that.
Oh yeah, the body man.
It's ridiculous. Like there's no way.
165 what?
Like pounds or 170.
Body mass.
can't.
Yeah, your body mass index 165 pounds. How much do you weigh?
I weigh 205 right now, between 205 and 210.
205. Yeah, I mean, I don't really like to go off those because you don't know what your body's capable of.
My waist size is 34 right now.
Yeah, you're.
So how much more fat am I going to lose? It's just like a little bit left.
You can lose more.
I know you can, but
Yeah.
in terms of belly fat in itself, and it's not gonna be 40 pounds of fat. That's gonna be.
He's saying that 165 is not ideal for his frame and for his body, especially if he wants to put.
165 for you, yeah. No, with your height and your frame, yeah, you're right. It's way too light. Like if you're at 205 right now, I'd probably say if you were to get down to that 170, 170s, or 180s, even that would be really lean. That would probably be like your where you start to like maintain / lean build, right? And that's what I kind of do. And just to get people to understand the whole point of lean building and cutting. Right. When I lean build, I'm building muscle. So I pack on a little bit of extra fat just because it's part of the process. Right. And then next thing you know, I do that for 6 months. And then for 4 months, I cut. Right. And the whole point of the cutting is to shed the fat that I gained on the lean build.
And maintain all the muscle.
And retain / build even more muscle while I'm cutting, which is difficult. A lot of people don't know how to do it because a lot of people don't use the protocols that I call macro manipulation, which is where I manipulate my macronutrients, fats, carbs, and proteins in order to actually make sure that I'm building muscle and still burning fat at the same exact time, which if anyone ever tells you it's impossible, they really don't know what they're doing.
It requires a lot of mental, especially if you're not used to it. If it's your first time, it's your first rodeo, you're going to need to be mentally strong.
Yes, and well, you need to be mentally strong for everything that you do. but it doesn't require as much as you think. Like right now I'm cutting. I'm not like, I haven't started any cardio at all, really. I'm just focusing on prioritizing my steps every day. I started my cut about a little under 2 weeks ago. I started at 250. Over 2 weeks ago. Sorry, I'm on the 3 week mark. I'm at 239. Right.
Wow. When you say your steps, what do you mean by that? You mean physical
I
steps?
literally track my steps on my phone.
Oh, that's what I started doing too.
Yeah, I just track my steps on my phone. Yeah, like my literal steps. Literally.
How many do you try to get in a day in this cutting phase when you started at 250?
I started at 8,000. And I moved up to, I'm at like 2,000 and 10,000 now. 10,000,
Nice.
right. So I started at 8,000, I'm at 10,000. And then from there, my other protocol is nutrition wise. Nutrition wise, I'm in a calorie deficit. I'm like around like 2,580 calories, so 2,580 calories, sometimes 2,600 depending on the day. So like, I mean, like the thing for me, that's a deficit, right? For other people, that's a lot of food.
That sounds like not a lot of food.
That was my camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
So,
but yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but like for me, like that deficit is enough to make me just start dropping weight from 250 to 238, 239, right? In just 3 weeks. Like that, for a lot of people, that's crazy. For me, it's like that's normal because my weight drops off fast because as soon as I start changing anything up, my body just adapts. It knows what I'm doing, right? Plus the steps, which I don't normally track on a lean bulk.
But walking is supposed to be like one of the secret weapons that people haven't been utilizing in a long time, right? That's what I understand. Yeah,
walking is like a cure to like literally everything.
But they always say like walk with purpose. Like don't just do like strolling and like don't consider your regular steps that you have in your house, walking around doing chores.
slightly longer strides. Yeah,
I mean, I track all that, so I throw my watch on as soon as I wake up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go downstairs.
The steps, every
and
step
come up.
counts. Every step counts.
Okay.
Yes, you walk with purpose, but that's probably more for
Cardio?
like, not even cardio. That's probably more for posture and skeletal reasons, like skeletal health. Making sure your chest is up, shoulders are back. You know, typically I always tell people simply just raise your chest plate and everything else follows.
yeah.
Right? Everyone's like, yeah, shoulders back, chest straight, hips, blah 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 blah. You know, heel toe, and I'm just like, bro, just raise your chest plate. Everything else follows. Just keep it simple.
I was going to ask you something. So, so I gravitated towards your style of training. Like that actually fit my personality.
Yeah.
Right. But not everyone's going to be like that.
No.
How do you, when you find a client, like, I don't know, other kind of clients. So like, just real quick. So for me, I enjoyed like, so now those recipes, I would find like Remington James on YouTube.
Yeah.
And just find these videos. Or I would like, there's a guy named Will Tennyson. You know Will on YouTube?
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, he's a Canadian guy. And he has really like I like his vlogs and stuff.
Yeah.
So I got followed went that YouTube rabbit hole where like you see these bodybuilders, even some of them are roided up, and we talk about it. Even like they're roided up, right? Because they're competing, but still like the idea of like just eating eggs and turkey bacon and toast for breakfast like appealed to me.
Yeah.
Every day, because that's what I like, and that's easy and it tastes good.
And you know what? The only reason why you can do that is because now you know how to handle your macros. You know how to count macros. You know how to track macros. Versus if you try doing that before the program, it's like, oh no, you can't like have like these tasty breakfasts if you're not tracking your macros, right? But he tracks his macros, so because after I explained all that to him and I taught him how to do it, now he knows how to do it on his own. And he literally, like, I don't know, Mahin, like, is a chef in the kitchen while he's dropping weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, what kind of personalities have not worked? Have you found clients where certain personas don't work for them? They maybe aren't getting the results?
You know what? Not a lot. Not a lot. For most people, this style of training and nutrition typically works for them, right? Because my style of nutrition, just to give everybody a clear idea on how I run my nutrition guides, first off, I calculate your calories, which is something that not a lot of people can do because not a lot of people know how to do it.
1 second.
Losing power?
I think there's a loose connection somewhere. Sorry.
That's okay.
Did the recording stop, you think?
No.
Okay.
We see talking. Okay.
You guys can keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so first thing I do is I calculate your macronutrients, right? So your macronutrients are your fats, your carbs, your proteins. Of course, that takes a whole formula behind it, right? Which I had to take a class and get certified to actually learn how to do that. After I calculate your macros, I calculate your calories, and then I let you know exactly like you're in a calorie deficit or if you're in a calorie surplus, depending on your goal. If you're cutting, calorie deficit. If you're bulking, lean building, calorie surplus. And then from there, to make your life easy, I literally create a nutrition guide that tells you exactly what you need to eat every meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, by the gram, by the ounce, so you're not confused. You know exactly what you need to do. And that was really simple for Mahin. Once Mahin got the hang of it, he started realizing I have every client I have, I always take them through a nutrition like protocol meeting, which is called the onboarding meeting, where I run the education portion of the nutrition. Once I told him about macros and how it works and how to track it and everything like that, he started to get the hang of it. After like 2 weeks, it's like a little learning curve. You get it down, you're good. After that, he started to realize, okay, he can make like quesadillas and track them. He can make like waffles for breakfast and track them. And you can, because I literally have a Little Debbie oatmeal cream pie every day. If not that, I'll have like a Little Debbie brownie or a what's it called? The little what are they called? The freaking I don't know. I forgot.
Swiss rolls.
Swiss rolls. Yeah. Yeah, I have the Swiss rolls all the time. Or like the fudge rods. I literally have that every day. And I literally 3 weeks in, I'm down well over 10 pounds. Right.
Whoa.
So
during your cut.
I mean right now, yes, during my cut.
Get out of here.
I don't mean during my lean, but yeah. But the thing is, I track it. If it fits in my macros, I can have it. And that's the cool thing that that I teach you when you join my program. I teach you how to properly track your macros, calories, all that jazz. So that way, after you look at the nutrition guide that I created for you to make your life easy, you start to realize, oh, okay, so this comes out to this many macros. This one comes out to this many calories, right? So now you know exactly how to weigh things out. You start getting aware of the nutrition labels on the back of things, and you start to realize like, oh, okay, this is easier than I thought. And then moving forward, now you just like you know how to like track anything you want to track.
I think the tracking thing just sounds intimidating to people.
Well, it was hard. It took like 2 weeks. It was stressful.
It is.
In the beginning.
It's a little stressful, but you know what? Me right now, fast forward like 6 years into it, I do it with my eyes closed, right? But you know what? I started doing it with my eyes closed like long ago. So here's the deal. It's at first it's intimidating, but if you want to live the life that you want to live, eat what you want, and still lose the weight that you want to lose and build the muscle that you want to build, this is how to do it. This is how to do it. It's not the only way. There's more than one way to skin a cat, but this is one of the best ways, right? And I tell people this all the time. You want to build muscle and eat what you want, this is how you do it, right? Because, I mean, this is how I do it. I love my life. I'm not trying to get rid of any of my brownies or my Little Debbies or anything like that, but I'm still trying to look aesthetically pleasing and lose weight, and I'm doing it, and I have no problem like following, you know.
Let me ask you a question. So like there's theories out there that I've heard on YouTube.
Yeah.
So let's say if my calories are set for 2,200 calories.
Yes.
Roughly, right? And I've got a protein goal of 190.
Yes.
And I hit that protein goal and I hit that calorie goal. People will say it does not matter how my carbs and fats line up.
Good. This is a controversial topic. This is a good question. So yes and no. The idea is that the idea of the importance of your protein. Yes, this is where that comes from. Yeah, it's super important that like listen, if you need to eat 200 grams of protein a day, you need to eat 200 grams of protein a day. Sometimes I'll tell my clients like I won't harp on the fat and the carbs as much, but I'd rather you make sure you keep a cognizant eye on that fat to make sure you're not going overboard. But what they mean by that is as long as you have 200 grams of protein and 2,200 calories, then you're solid. Yeah. And the reason being is because your body's going to go at that fat anyways. Because your body uses fat as the immediate line of fuel,
Right.
right? First things first, it uses fat. After that, it starts going at the carbs and your glycogen storage, and then the last thing your body ever attacks is muscle, right? Once your body starts attacking muscle, you have a problem. You're anorexic. You're like
So
literally,
you actually would agree with the sentiment that if it's so right now I'll just pull it up.
that if you hit your protein and your calories, it won't matter what the fat and the carbs
I'll
are.
just pull up my fitness pal right now
Yeah.
real quick.
While
right?
he's looking that up, can you answer what is it? What does 200 grams of protein look like? Are you including protein powder?
Yes.
Most because
Can I tell him? 'Cause I just looked my yesterday's from yesterday.
okay, go ahead.
All right. So morning. Okay. So what was my yesterday? I think I ended at like 190. Right. So turkey bacon, two slices. There's some protein in bread. 1 cup egg whites, 1 whole egg. Right. Morning snack has a protein bar, which is like 20 grams of protein. Lunch, 7.5 ounces of sirloin steak. That's like a lot of protein.
How many people are going to be eating steak every day, man?
You cook it.
A lot of
Yeah, I know you can cook it, but it's
You
like
make, like-
affording it, is one thing. Cooking it is another thing,
Well,
you know? Steak every day is
ground beef is fine.
We don't
but
make that kind of
like
salad, bro.
I had enough for the 3 meals, right?
Yeah.
And then dinner like half rotisserie
Chicken.
chicken,
Living the life.
and then
half of a rotisserie chicken.
no, not half, 140 grams from the half. You measure like 140 grams, so like a quarter or something is what it came out to when I measured it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
140, and then I cheated a little bit, had some mac and cheese, 200 grams. And then to get the nightcap, to get the protein over the limit was 150 grams of Greek yogurt vanilla with
So one serving of
rice,
yogurt.
rice cake.
Okay.
So wait, what?
So you got your protein, you got your carbs.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Isn't that just too much to track? Like I can't even wrap my mind around. That's just like every day is just a rule.
Using my fitness pal makes it really easy. And here's the thing. I always tell people like, listen, I don't track you around. I don't track you around. But let me tell you something. When I do track, I realize how much protein I'm really lacking because I don't track. Like on the times that I don't track, which is very few times out of the year, I am severely undernourished on the protein aspect side of things, which I can 100% say that the average man that doesn't track is definitely as well under on protein, and I have a hard time getting under on protein. Like that's like very tough because every meal I have is like minimum 40 grams of protein, right? But if I can get under on protein because I'm not tracking, then I guarantee you everyone else that's watching this and every other guy in society that doesn't track is severely under on protein.
So, but a lot of times people are not training as rigorously as you are, and people, and obviously you take all that into account.
It'd
Right?
be
They don't
bad
have
if
much
they
muscle
were.
mass, right?
Yeah,
So they're obviously not going to have those same needs that you would, right? Because you just said you need like 40.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I'm saying to
Exactly.
make it less intimidating for most people, they're not going to. Average person's not going to need that much, right? And they're not going to need to engineer it that much.
yes, they're not going to need that much, but even what they're taking in is still less than what they need, even for the capacity, the work capacity, whether it's no days a week in the gym or 4 days in the week in the gym. The average man is still not getting enough protein.
I see what you're saying.
They're still under even on the bare minimum,
Yeah.
right?
There was a lot of research. I was just reading his research. I don't know if you ever heard of Thomas DeLauer. He's on
Yes.
YouTube. So he was actually referring to some of these studies. I was like, I want to see these studies. But one of the studies that he cited was that people who actually eat protein, there was a study that was done. If you let's just say you have like a meal and you just want to eat all your protein first,
Yeah.
and then eat everything else. When people who ate protein first and then ate like something sugary or something like that, not only did that lower the insulin spike. So let's just say you had carbs first and you had a huge insulin spike.
Yeah.
It minimized the insulin spike by 30 to 40% that if they eat their protein first
Yeah.
or a part of their meal and then they had something else later, right? In that same meal, meaning.
Yeah.
Right. So eating the protein actually in the beginning, I mean, it'll be hard for a lot of people to do, or just including it in your meal actually mitigates a lot of the other effects of what
It
sugar
does.
and the carbs would
Yeah, for the simple reason of just digestion, how your metabolism works. When you combine the protein with the sugar The idea behind that is that you're not doing sugar alone, right? And that's the whole point. That's
Or sugar with fat, which is very
or
prominent.
sugar with fat, which is of course, a prominent issue in America. But that's like the thing when you don't just snack on sugar by itself, and you put it next to like a source of protein, you end up realizing you're not seeing as many issues like biologically, like health wise, you know what I'm saying? Because sugar by itself is what leads to the diabetes and what leads to the high blood pressure. And that's like the problem when you have sugar by itself, or like what American society does naturally, which is all of us, will end up snacking here and there and here and there and here and there.
Frequent snacking.
Yeah, and frequent snacking is the killer. Why? Because what happens is when that food needs to get processed, when that snack needs to get processed every like couple hours, because you keep snacking, what happens is your liver will start to secrete the enzymes that it needs to secrete, as well as your pancreas, and then next thing you know, your insulin spikes, and your blood pressure raises, and over time, you do that enough times throughout years, now you have a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Obesity.
Exactly. But when you put protein next to that, then it digests a different way, right? And as well as making sure that you're not snacking, you're having 3 to 4 meals, 3 to 4 portion meals every day. Then that's a different story. Now we're getting into like healthy eating, right? But naturally, sugar has been getting a bad rap lately because of the overuse of sugar. You know what I'm saying? So I love sugar. Sugar is great. It's good for you in the right amounts. So
The balance.
Yeah, so I just checked. I still have 85 grams of protein left to hit today.
yeah,
I'm only at 100.
So how do you clean that up? Are you actually going to go and get some meat, or would you
No,
just get
Tuna.
put a
no,
steak on the
no. So a quesarito that he alluded to will usually have about probably 60 grams of protein in it total.
Yeah.
What's the quesarito? Can you let us know?
Greek yogurt.
A quesarito is one of the recipes that I got off YouTube. It's like not the quesarito, actually the stuffed queso burrito. That's what I'm gonna make.
Oh, you're
at
gonna
home.
make stuffed queso.
The
Okay.
stuffed queso burrito is 180 grams of ground beef, which is like 40 grams of protein, and then like 56 grams of fat-free cheese, which is like another crap ton of protein.
Mahin, why don't you tell them how you're able to create such a creative meal and still know how to track it?
Because you make it's a copy paste once you do it in my Fitness Pal. Also, I bulk cook my ground beef. I go to Mediterranean Market, right? They have 98% lean. By the way, 'cause that's unheard of anyway. You can't find that anywhere, right?
It's tough.
Really? Is it?
Yeah.
No, 98%.
98% ground beef.
98 too, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
and
nice.
so basically it takes me 10 minutes to cook it because the one seasoning
wait, when you're eating 98% ground beef, it's sticking to your pan. If you don't put oil in there,
yeah, you spray some avocado
course.
oil and then you gotta
Avocado
keep stirring it and then
or
you
or
put
olive
the
oil.
seasoning in, right?
Yeah.
And there's no dripping off it. Like most times on ground beef,
Yeah.
like a bunch of like fat coming off. There's nothing off this. You just like scoop it right into the pan, and so that's enough usually. That gives me about 800 grams cooked,
Okay.
and that gives me enough to like make pasta. So then I just gotta like.
Yeah.
So even if I'm in a real bit bind, I remember one time I come here and nuke my white rice and ground beef. It's like the
oh yeah.
So
No,
how long
bro.
how long do these batches, and do you like make like Tupperware full of food for like the week, or how do you?
well,
do that?
Costco gives you different. I like the glass containers, right? Because they're easy to clean
Mm-hmm.
and not don't buy the plastic stuff because that stuff will stain and you can't get it out.
That's
right?
true.
Right. So Costco has the nice glass containers. So the big square ones. So right now at home I have a big square one full of ground beef and a separate mini one, which covers what I have left. Right.
Yeah.
And so I just could just.
And that
literally-
lasts you about a week.
Yeah, but then I combine it with, so I'll have to have ground chicken. For eggs, breakfast is easy.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposite of you. If I don't eat breakfast, I just go nuts.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, all this food talks make me hungry.
Another reason why people look at all this meal prep and tracking so intimidating, because they don't know like hacks, like meal prep hacks, tracking hacks, all the hacks that he knows I taught him had come from like my trial and errors over the years. You know what I'm saying? So if like people like ever feel intimidated, like stop for a second and understand that there's ways to
So-
like just make your life easy and still lose the weight and still track and prep and everything.
But if you don't meal prep on a weekend, you're screwed, pretty much.
Depending on
kinda
your
how-
lifestyle, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I prep Sunday and I prep Thursday, sometimes Sunday and Wednesday, depending on the week, and how much I plan on eating that week. But for the most part, there's like, okay, so this is what I tell Mahin, and this is what I tell a lot of clients. Meal prep hack 101. If you're gonna prep your food for the entire week, prep your chicken, ground turkey, like all your meats, prep it in bulk, right? Put chicken in a big ass big Tupperware.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
You're right. You're fine.
Put your chicken in a big Tupperware. Put your ground turkey in a big Tupperware. Put like your steak, whatever it is, salmon, whatever meats you got. Separate them in each big Tupperware, and then separate your veggies in a big Tupperware. Right? Make like a big vegetable medley, which is kind of like either I'll tell you make asparagus and broccoli, or I'll tell you like make like a vegetable medley with broccoli, carrots, maybe some cauliflower or some broccoli. Mix it up there. Put it in a big Tupperware. Right? And then rice. Cook your rice, put in a big Tupperware. Or if you're cooking sweet potatoes, your carbs, you know. So you got your Tupperware. You got a meat for your Tupperwares for your meats, Tupperwares for your vegetables, Tupperwares for your carbs. Right? Now your life is easy because anytime you need to make a meal, you just pull each individual Tupperware out, weigh it out, put the food in a small Tupperware or a plate if you're eating it fresh at your house, right? And simply carry on with your day. Eat your meal, and then you do the same thing for your next meals, right? It's that simple. Breakfast is probably the only thing that you don't prep. You can prep breakfast though.
Yeah, it just sucks. It doesn't taste
It
good.
just doesn't taste as good, unless you're doing overnight oats or something.
Yeah, overnight oats
oats are very good.
Yeah, I tried it a few times. Pretty good. Man.
So
Yeah.
can you just instead of doing all this craziness, in my mind, it's just
Here it
insane.
comes.
I
Here it
can't even
comes.
imagine doing
You
it.
can
but-
cook it fresh, yes.
No.
Every
Can
day.
I just use a shake like my Optimum Nutrition big 40-pound bag that I have and just
And
take?
just eat that constantly.
I'm saying
I knew some kid that did in
just
college.
use that
To save
throughout
money.
the day, and then because I like to cook, I like to cook.
Yeah.
So my dinner, I cook really nice meals, and then in the morning, afternoon, brunch, whatever you want to call it, I'll periodically throughout the day, instead of having all these little meals and Tupperware items that I'm carrying around, can I substitute that with shake?
Right. Good question. So no, you can't. There is no such thing as so there's no such thing as a meal replacement. But I will tell you this: you can do it for breakfast, but it's gonna be food essentially mixed up in a blender.
Wait, how come he got to eat what's it called, the little bars, the protein bars?
You can have protein bars, but they were never a meal replacement.
He thinks you're talking about meal replacement. I think he's talking about using it as a snack.
I'm saying having protein shakes throughout the day.
Yes, you can do that.
Just
I thought you meant
10 shakes up until dinner.
Oh no!
Oh no, yeah. I thought I heard you wrong. I heard you right. No, you can't do that
Why not?
because there's
Because
no
you're just
such
eating
thing
like
as a
collagen, bro. It's
There's
literally
no
like
such thing as a meal replacement, and that doesn't.
Protein.
It's protein, but you're not protein. I mean, even protein. I don't like protein shakes. Are not my main source of protein throughout the day. The majority. Protein shakes are literally, I think, less than 5% of the protein that I intake in a day.
what he's saying. You should be eating real food.
You need to be taking in your protein from real food because there's not just the protein from the food. There's also the micronutrients, right? I've been talking about macro a lot, but there's also micronutrients, which is the actual systems to the macros, right? There's a bigger picture, and then there's a smaller picture. The smaller picture is sometimes more important, right? That micro. If you don't get those micronutrients from a wide variety of foods, you will start to notice over the span of a couple of weeks, months, maybe, or less, a lot of issues, right? Because you're highly undernourished because all you're taking in is optimal nutrition. you're like these gym bros out here that are like 80% Fairlife protein shake. You're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it very far.
So I needed basically a lot of meat.
You don't need a lot of meat. I have some vegans. I have some vegan clients that are on
We
vegan
don't need
nutrition.
those. We don't want to talk about those people.
We don't want to talk about those. Okay.
Those people are heretics, and we're the lowest of the low.
Okay.
Unless you have a medical condition,
Yeah,
you shouldn't be. You know,
Or if you're doing it for ethical reasons, you don't like
no,
them.
not ethical
there's no
reasons.
ethical reasons.
Well,
The
you live in
plant-
America.
Ethical in the sense.
You're spitting out exhaust fumes into the.
No, but they
Into
just
the
try to
environment.
mitigate the harm that the animals and the feces that they're living in and the treatment that the animals
That's
go
the
through.
cover story, bro. Sheikh, that's what they say to you. Like, oh, don't.
Hey, I'm making excuses for people,
Nah.
bro.
No, but you're right. I think if you don't pay attention to the protein intake, you can let it slip, for sure. But I think going back to it, if I hit my 185 today, but let's say my fat goes 65 grams
Yes.
and carb goes like 240. What if it came out to 180 carbs and 120 or 100 grams fat? Would that kill you?
I mean, that'll kill you if it's over on calories.
No, but if you stay within the calories.
Then you're good.
Okay.
So it doesn't. It's just like, so why because you used to always try to keep my fat super low. Why was that?
I would try to keep your fat super low for the simple reason that first, number one, you were first starting off.
Okay.
So starting off, we're trying to shed fat. We're not trying to like maintain fat or balance out your fats and your carbs. And granted, that is okay. But I'm one thing I left out there. It's okay within like if it's not habitual. It can be habitual. It can be every day. Like
100 grams
you're
fat.
over on fat. Like you're over on fat again. Like if you keep going over on fat, you're gonna realize there's a fat buildup going on your physique, and you're gonna start to notice it in the mirror. But like let's say like one day out of like every couple of weeks, you're over on fat and under on carbs. You're still gonna lose weight. It may not be all fat loss, but you will lose weight.
I see what
because
you're saying.
You're in a calorie deficit, right? Again, we go back to the difference between weight loss and fat loss. Our goal is always fat loss, muscle
Right.
gain. Even if we're losing weight, still goal fat loss, muscle gain.
But didn't you say earlier that like the body will always attack fat first?
It will attack first. Yeah, but what happens when you eat too much fat? You get fat.
There's more to attack.
There's more of it to attack, but there's gonna be too much.
Too much. Okay, I see what
You
you're
understand?
Yeah.
So it's like what'll end up happening is you're just gonna like.
You're just gonna keep adding to the
So
reserves.
for example, let me give you a great example. When
Yeah.
I was a kid, I was chunky. I was a fat kid. I grew up fat. I got bullied for it all the time. It was
Yeah.
lovely. And what happened was though, as a kid, being that chunky, I was still very active. I was active every day. But you want to know why I was fat? It's because I took in too much fat.
It was all that men stuff.
It was all that mensa, the McLuba, the diets, the cross, the like all of it.
I should be hearing this when I'm like,
biryani too.
when I got 900 calories to
Alright.
hit.
But like the point is, why was I always so fat? Even though I literally averaged like 20,000 steps a day as a kid, it was because I ate so much fat. It doesn't matter how many calories I burned. I could have been in a calorie deficit, but I was still carrying fat. I wasn't eating any protein. I probably got in like 40 to 50 grams of protein a day as a kid. So you are what you eat. And if you accumulate a lot of fat over time, even if you're under on your calories, you may lose weight, but you're just going to end up looking like the skinny fat boys. You know what I'm saying? Slim, but with a gut.
Okay, so I think as we wrap up the show, because Muggrip's coming in soon, but you're talking about age? I think that was part of the podcast, right?
Oh,
You're
they
Yes,
tried guessing my age.
I think he's 24 years old.
Tell him the first guy. Tell him the first guy.
I said between 28 and 30 and then 32. I said between 28 and 32.
Yeah, and I was like, wow. Okay, I said he's close just to throw him off. You're nowhere near close.
Okay, but
And then I said something weird's going to happen. He's going to tell us he's like 45 or 55.
Yeah. What did you
as
guess?
soon okay, so initially I had guessed just based on you were 31, but after I found out that you were friends with our boy Champion Method, Mohammed Khamdil. He was one of our first guests on when our show started. Long-time listeners will know about him, but when I found out you were friends with him, then I'm like, okay, you're around his age. You're probably in between 23 to 25.
Good guess.
I think he's like 27 right now. Maybe.
Khamdil?
Kandil's probably 27 right now, right?
Condit is, older than me.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
The nonna.
Yeah. Condit is.
So you're 23 then?
Yes.
Jeez, mashallah.
Good guess, yeah.
Yeah.
23.
Because you can pass for one of those people that look young if they're old. But if you told me you're 23, I totally get
so
it.
let me. So
Yeah.
when did you actually start your journey then? Like when you're 15?
When I was in 7th grade, I think I was like 11 or 12. Yeah.
So
Were you like
11 or
really
12.
overweight
I
then?
started
Is that why?
calisthenics. I was really overweight. I went to the doctor. He's like, "Yo, you need to do something about this." I was like, "Yeah, F it, I'm fine." And then I kept getting bullied, and then I was like, "Damn, I think I should listen to the doctor."
Put that little fire under your butt, right?
The bullying lit a fire. The doctor lit a little bit of fire, but the bullying was like the biggest fire because I'm just like, "Damn, these kids are really gonna keep picking on me." And then one kid took it a little too far. And I won't go into detail, but like basically, he was like, it was really embarrassing. Because it was like in front of like my whole 7th grade class, and I'm like, damn, if you want to start something, I'll finish it. And I really wasn't gonna finish anything because this kid was known for like, like fighting, and he was a rebel. He was like a bad kid. Granted, 5 years later he's in jail. Saw that coming from a mile away, but basically he was like he was my bully, and he was like always like teasing me, making fun of me, and he'd always like sometimes would hit me. One day he did it, and like it was in front of everybody, and I was like, damn, I really just let this kid just do his thing, And I'm like, I can't let that happen no more. So that's when I started getting into weight loss. That summer after 7th grade, I dropped 70 pounds.
Phew.
So really fast.
So at 7th grade, if you had to lose 70 pounds, bro, that's how much do you think you
I
weighed?
was very, very overweight. I was like, man, I forgot, but I just remembered the number 70. I remember I went from like 160 something down to like the 120s, 130s, and then I just fluctuated between there. But I remember specifically like tracking it in my notebook and seeing the number like.
Were you as tall as you are now?
Oh heck no! I was a chunky short kid, So like it just wasn't a good situation, And then I lost all that weight. Got into calisthenics, push-ups, pull-ups, dips, did it religiously, sit-ups, everything. I did it by the hundreds. I would wake up, my morning routine was 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 tricep dips, and 100 push-ups. I said that. And then 50 pull-ups. That was my morning routine. That was my routine that I did immediately upon rolling out of bed.
SubhanAllah.
And then I did that every day until
That takes
8th grade year
dedication.
started. I did it all throughout 8th grade year. And then after I finish all that, and then I'd get in the shower, I'd eat breakfast, and then I'd go to school. That was my morning routine. That was my workout. That was just a routine. And then I'd come back from school, I'd work out later at night in my room again.
Like a body calisthenics.
Like a more intense calisthenics, like pause push-ups, explosive push-ups. I'd have like concentrated.
And where'd you learn all this stuff?
Squats. I just like kind of like just started researching.
Well, I guess the internet was still. This is only like 11 years
The internet
ago.
was really prevalent.
Yeah.
So I was still in 7th grade. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like the internet was popping.
The YouTube was around.
popping.
Yeah.
But there was one figure in my life. He was my older brother's friend. His name is I don't know if I want to say his name on here. I don't know. You may not like that, but
Say it anyway. I was joking.
no. But he was. I don't know if he watches this. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. But he was a significant figure. He first started training me. He's the one that taught me like all the calisthenics, and then from there I kind of dove into it in myself. But he trained me for free. Like he just trained me. He was like the guy was in high school. He was really fit himself. And he's like, Ahmed, you want to lose weight? This is how we do it. And he is like, okay. I'd go to the youth center. I don't know if you guys know where the youth center is.
Yeah, Moss Foundation.
Yeah. That was like my starting gym. I would start my workout by running 4 miles every time. I ran 4 miles. After I run 4 miles, and then I start my calisthenics workout, right? That was besides my morning routine again. Like that was just something like separate. And I lost so much weight and I put on so much muscle. I came back 8th grade year like a whole different man.
Wow.
I even put on some height because puberty finally hit. Yeah, that was like the start of it all. My bullies became my best friends because they were afraid of me.
That's dope.
I got into MMA and boxing. That was when one of my best friends, he got me into, because he was a wrestler. One of my best friends, his name is, I'll say his name because he's cool, and I mean, he won't really care. His name is Motaz Oscar. A lot of you guys probably know him. You might know him, Mahin. He's a professional fighter. Him and his brothers are all professional fighters.
Yeah. My
MMA
brother was
fighters.
telling me about him.
Yeah, the Oscar brothers. And I grew up with them. My best friend, his name is Maltez. I've known him for almost 2 decades now.
Since you were 3.
Yeah, since I was 3 years old.
Since he was 4, he's 24.
23.
Almost 24. Anyways,
Almost, yeah. But yeah, I known him for like like a long time, you know what I'm saying? But he was into wrestling and fighting and MMA, and he got me into it, and that's when like my MMA ambitions kind of like started. I never really wanted to fight professionally, but I loved the idea of MMA training, and I loved the idea of boxing and kickboxing and knowing like just at least the basics. Of course, I went into the advanced territories, but like of course, like as I started to advance in that, I got like stronger, faster, lighter on my feet, and essentially after that, like I mean, I don't know. I couldn't think of anyone that really wanted to mess with me. So, after that, I really, it was great. Like the bullying stopped. Everyone wanted to be my friend. Of course, it like, you know, borderline a little fake. But they just thought I was cool just because I was like, I had some, you know, like I'm like a whole different person, lost weight, built muscle. But for the most part, it was all for me. I never did it for anybody. I did it because I didn't like the way I was, and something needed to change. So, yeah, I mean, if there's like a message for anybody, I would say like that's like the one message I would tell someone today. Like, if you need to change and you don't know how to do it, figure it out.
Right. And where can people find you?
Yes, you can definitely find me at my Instagram is Ahmad_live_fit. So that's AHMAD_LIVE_fit FIT. And I have a TikTok. Same thing. I don't use it a lot, but I will be using it very soon. And I'm going to be starting a YouTube real soon. If you guys want to find me there, it'll just be Ahmad Sarhan. Kind of like a lifestyle vlog style YouTube. And for the most part, you can find workouts on my IG. I put out a lot of reels on IG. So if you need to find me on IG, Ahmad_live_fit. Yeah, DM me, ask me questions, whatever you guys want to do, and I will answer all of them. And if anyone is interested in actual coaching, feel free to fill out an application. I have an application form in my Google Docs in my bio. And then from there, we can see if we're a good fit. And if we are, we'll make magic happen.
That's
awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Ahmad. A lot of those fun items that we talked about, and I think there's so much more to still talk about. And I hope that you come back and
Heck yeah.
talk about any new experiences, any new discoveries, whatever you have or willing to share with us. We'd be happy to hear from you again.
Awesome.
Don't pull one of those when you sit back in the car and be like, man, those guys are crazy. I'm never going back to those guys.
No, I'm about to start looking at my calendar. Like, when am I coming back here?
That's dope. Alhamdulillah. As long as you had a good time, brother.
I have a great time.
Folks, help us out on patreon.com//the Mad Mamluks. Any little bit helps. We have a lot of different projects that we would like to do to improve the quality of the content that you are being presented with every week. So help us out in any way you can. Greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, we'll be having Dr. Shadi next week. Dr. Shadi Lamastri.
And he committed because he said it on his own show. So he can't bail on us now.
Next Wednesday, right? Inshallah.
Can't bail us on? Yeah. Awesome.
Is that an issue?
Any idea what he wants to talk to us about?
Some certain congresswoman out of Minnesota.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to talk to us about Sheikh Noor, though. Like the episode we had with Muhammad,
that was a good episode. That was a great episode.
Kabani.
Great episode.
Yeah, there were some people who wanted a countering point. I mean, we may present that if the schedules align and the stars align. Stuff, but we don't believe in stars aligning.
He looks at me.
Sorry, Chef.
Don't
just a figure
make that type of eye contact. Brian, I know I've known you for a long time, but every time
your prayer not be expected.
No, he looks up and he looks into my soul, bro, and his eyes start shining.
Because
am I supposed to look away or should I keep looking?
He scolds me after the show.
I never stars
aligning. It must be.
Folks, thank you so much. We'll see y'all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sounds different.